Um, she's a friend of our show. And she had an interesting story happen to her. Um, Bonnie, she does Reiki healing and aura pictures, I believe, right? And I remember she captured me like I've always been like a spiritual dude. Not spiritual. I was like I've always been looking, right? I was in church for a while, and um, like I had that same feeling of like church when I had my son, this one.
Okay.
Um, and she got to capture that aura.
Mm.
In her, she has a camera that captures the aura, and it was beautiful. Like how she explained it to me is what I felt at that time. So, anyways, a friend of the show, welcome, Bonnie.
Yes,
You have a story.
I do.
I'm very interested. I know the gist of it.
Right.
But for those who are jump on the train right now, let's go. What is this? Tell me.
The story is actually about my father. He died in 2004, and coming in through because I was really upset with him at one point, and because I'm thinking, why are you letting my mother suffer? My mom was suffering, like she went into a coma, and I'm going, don't you let her, and all this stuff. And he actually came through to her mother, which is my parents as friends too. And her mother at that point had a stroke. And so I wanted to tell the story with this because it's so amazing that how when you talk to your loved ones that's passed, they hear you. And I never really thought about it until I'm screaming at my father and he hears me and he comes through to her mother to let me know he's going to come. He's coming. So the story basically, I wanted to bring Connie with me because she can tell her side where her mother had gotten, the information from my father and how she had to come find me. So basically, I wanted to kind of begin with a little bit about my character of my mother and my father, and then I wanted Connie to kind of explain her mother and father, and then kind of get into the story.
Okay.
So my mother and father, let me see, I want to show you. My mother's Japanese, and my father is American, and he was a Marine, and in Okinawa when he met my mother, and my mother was working at my aunt's coffee shop, and he came running in, on his thing, and after that, they just fell in love, I guess. And my mom didn't speak a lot of English at that time. And so, him being a Marine, and they get married. They have me, I'm born in Okinawa. And so, after, I'm born, 5 years later, they come to the States. But my father, to give you a little background, was a Marine, was in the Army, and was in the Navy. And he was in for 25 years. And when he was in the Army, he was in Vietnam fighting. And he also did special forces and mercenary work for the government. So he was really, he knew the war like no other. And also, basically, because he was in Vietnam for those many years doing all kinds of stuff, he did get Agent Orange. And in the long run, that's what he died from. But and then my mother, which, of course, the Japanese lady in this picture, she came here to the States, and my dad leaves to go overseas, and she's kind of, going, oh my God, what am I going to do? And she meets up with some other Japanese women that are they're war brides too. So that's what they call war brides when you marry, bring them over after the war. And so, in this Buddhism, she started practicing this Buddhism, and with these other women that she had with her that was Japanese, she did not feel alone anymore. But this woman went and took English. I mean, she went to school to learn better English. She went and got her citizenship. she went and got her driver's license, and she also started working, all by herself, basically, because my dad was gone. And I give her so much credit because that takes a lot to do when you're in a country that nobody really likes.
And no internet too.
Yeah, at that time, people are still hurt over, Japan's the war, and they're losing family that they were not very nice.
That I'm well aware of that. My grandmother is Japanese, and my grandfather is Italian, German, and French. And so, it's the same thing. It's like what you're saying. They came in after the war. They married, and my grandfather was in the Navy, and he had. I mean, and here they were.
Right. And she didn't, at that time, her family, she came from a pretty big family, and she was actually also a little girl in the Okinawa invasion. So her story is way different than what we hear in books in school about
Yeah.
that. But the interesting part of all that is that she made it through, and she had so many stories about that I got to hear, which was amazing. And coming over here and doing all that she did, I give her so much credit. And her family at the time, her father was so angry that she married an American that she felt disowned. So she did not go back to Japan almost for 25 years until my aunt came over to get her to go back to see her dad and mom. But so that's my kind of explanation of my family and how they met. And I thought I'd let Connie show you her mom and dad and how what went on with her.
Certainly. This is my mom. A different tier is what I would call it in Japan. She's again. And this is my family. And it will be important when I tell you about my brother, who can read all the above. Oh, I have to share this. A little bit.
And their doggies.
My dogs. Those are my kids. Bonnie and I were kind of friends a long time ago. Let me get it closer. However, it's a different situation with my mom. Her family was a different tier in Japan. At what we call mayors here, her dad was more of a regional section. And literally, she and her mom and dad were different. They had 4 homes in Japan, farms and businesses and homes. Yokohama Tire was one of their family business.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And literally, when my mom met my dad, she was disowned, disinherited, because he was half German, half Irish. When my dad took it upon himself to make my mom an American citizen, she went through all the training. My mom met her mom on a different level than what she was used to in Japan. My mom and her mom were good friends. My mom suffered a hemorrhagic stroke, which left her paralyzed on half her body about 9 years ago. In so doing that, this is where it becomes important. She could communicate and talk, but her whole paralysis was not on her left side. It started moving everywhere else. We had her move down here with my dad, sold their home, moved into a little apartment where we could help my sisters and I take care of her. Because it didn't take one person, it takes 2. Because when your paralysis are in, you're limp. To shower and do everything else. But my dad was hands-on with her. My dad was hands-on with her. Literally, my mom, when she had us, she was considered, from the American point of view, one of those. Korean, whatever it was, but she was Japanese. They are the ones that killed, on my dad's side, uncles, everything else in the Korean War, even though my mom was Japanese. Moving forward. After the stroke, we've always known her mom, my mom's mom, had the ability to read, see, do everything. In Japan, it's different. You don't talk about it. You don't like make news about it. But literally, she could do all the above. In my family, my mom knew she had a little bit of that, but she wasn't focused on doing that. However, my brother now is and was. From my mom's point of view, we moved her here, and about 2 or 3 years later, she was staying with my sister Kathy up in Oakview. And one night, my mom, before going to bed, she turned to my sister and said, I need to talk to Bonnie. And before that, same thing. She told me, Connie, I need to go see Bonnie's mom, who was in the hospital. And I said, okay, we'll take you in there. We went in there, and she can tell you what happened far better than me. And it was over the top how my mom could see things. Go ahead, Bonnie.
Oh, okay. So in 2014, my mom kept falling, and so they ended up doing surgery on her neck. And they said, oh, she'll be able to walk better, all this stuff. After the surgery, she couldn't walk at all. The surgery was somehow botched, and she just couldn't walk. She would fall, so she ended up being in a wheelchair. So I sold her house, brought her to my house, and I took care of her. She lived with me for about 1.5 years, and taking care of it. But in the meanwhile, she got heavier, and I kept hurting my back. I couldn't lift her by myself all the time. So I ended up finding, after 1.5 years, I found this one home, this Filipino lady, they ran it, and it was right over here by your house, actually. And they were so nice, they only had 4 other patients. So putting her in there, it's like putting her into another family, which is good, because it's not like a facility where they forget about you. And so my mom was also, I have to say, through all the stuff she went through, always laughing and always happy. I sometimes would say, how can you be so happy? I don't understand when your life is so changed. She goes, it is because I choose to be happy. And I thought, you know what? You are
That's
truly a
Buddhism.
Buddhist.
That's Buddhism.
She goes, I am enlightened and I don't let nothing bother me anymore. And I said, wow, you must be trying to teach me that, right? So.
Well, when my mom came to the hospital.
Right, you're getting there. So after she went into that place, and all of a sudden she got sick, and she went into a diabetic coma. So then she was transferred to palliative care in the hospital, right up in here in Ventura. So in palliative care, they give you this big, beautiful room where your person can die and have all their family around him. But when we got there, that first night, that's when I got so angry at my dad, going, why are you letting her suffer? She's not living anymore. Aren't you going to come get her? What is wrong? And I'm just going, don't you let her? I can't believe you're doing this, So after about an hour of ranting and raving, I just let it go. And I swear it was the next day or the day after, Connie comes walking in. I haven't seen Connie in 15 years. 18, okay, 18 years. I haven't seen her or communicated with her at all. She comes walking in the hospital, and I go, wow, Connie, what are you doing? And she goes, oh my God, my mom made me come find you. Do you know how hard it was to find you?
I had no clue. I had no clue.
She said, you know what Mom says, we do. And she's got 5 siblings in her family. I'm the only child. So I'm the one who takes care of everything and when my mom is sick. But she came in and said, your dad is coming through my mom, and he wants her to tell you that he's coming to get your mom. And I said, you're not going to believe that I have been, just a day ago when we got here, cussing him out so much, thinking he didn't care. He's doing his own thing. You don't know how good this makes me feel. I feel like, I can't even tell you, I feel so amazed that my dad could come through to let me know that he's going to come. And so,
I hadn't seen her for years. All I knew is my mom, in her paralysis state, her mind was still there, but at the same time, she would choose what to say, which is even more different than talking. He says, Connie, you gotta go get Bonnie. You gotta take me over there, see her mom. And I said, I don't know where Bonnie is. I haven't seen her. I don't know her anymore. She used to do hair, but I don't know. Mom said, you gotta find her. Her dad's talking to me. I go, her dad's been dead, Mom. Literally. And she said, no, you gotta go find her. And so I did. I looked everywhere, and there she was in the hospital. I had to go through so many communication sources. Mind you, Japanese isn't my first language. And literally, we found her. And I said, look, my mom is saying your dad is telling me to tell you it's okay. He's going to be there to help her. He's going to take her, and she'll be okay. And then she's like, oof.
and then you leave. She leaves, and in the evening,
Yeah,
her dad is pushing her mom, and they come in. And I was
To the hospital.
To the hospital. I was so happy to see her. And
I told her where she was.
Right, and she talked slow, but I could totally understand. She kept saying, your dad driving me crazy. He's driving me crazy. He wants to make sure you know that he's going to come.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Playing devil's advocate,
Good.
what is there to say that you don't have a mental connection, or your mom doesn't have a mental connection with your mom? Or spiritual connection?
With her mom?
Yeah. And maybe they communicated
On a spiritual level.
spiritual level.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it could be, but I just know that when she said it was my dad, and she actually, I think, the seeing and hearing him coming to her, asking her that, I just figured that was what it was.
Do you honestly, Brian, do you think that there's, like, I want there to be a life after death? Do you believe in that there is?
Communication. After
N-
that.
I'm just worried about life after death right now.
Oh,
Because if there is a life after death, there is communication after death. I would imagine.
I truly know. I believe that.
Do you go back and forth?
I try not to. Like if there is, there is. If there's not, there's not. You know what I mean? One of those things. Like you'll find out when you get there.
Wow, really?
Fuck all that, dude. I'm scared right now.
I'm sorry.
You're kidding. Oh my God.
I'm
Let
sorry.
me tell you, there
I've had-
is a spiritual level that I can't even get into. But I've seen it with my mom's mom through voicing my mom. My mom ignored it, but now my brother does. And he's got so much going on with that. He's ready to sell his business to go here because this
Full
is where
on?
he's pushing.
And you're talking a mediumship, like he can speak to the dead,
Hmm
whoever wants to come through to a person.
And so can my mom's mom, who
Is he local? Your brother?
he's up in Santa Rosa.
Next time he's down, tell him to come through.
Mhm.
We've had really big. I mean, we had like Patty Negree on here.
Yeah.
I know,
Uh,
but
We just had Patty, Debbie Romero, and her video that went on here went viral for us.
So
I could-
you
you
have
know-
to. All these people, you know, they don't say there is life after death.
They all do.
oh,
Oh,
we
they
all
do.
do. But
Yeah, yeah.
literally, there's something out there that I don't want to practice, figure out.
She's
All I
very
am-
left
I'm-
brain.
I am.
Very
I'm
left
gonna
brain.
run two corporations. I'm just here because what happened years ago.
Oh,
to
okay.
her, that's all.
I
am.
get what's happening now.
Yeah, my
So
brother.
you're very, as a matter of fact,
Yes.
Hell yeah.
that's numbers. That's me.
Money,
okay.
That's all it's about.
And so, So your life, that's what you've been doing.
That's what I've been doing.
And so
for
when you hear this,
28 years.
I mean, at first when you hear that stuff, right? Nonsense, right? Do
Yes.
you get that? I mean, that
I don't know
you're
about
kind of brain
nonsense,
person.
But I just say I don't need to look at that, and I go the other way, because I don't. But when my mom's mom used to tell me when I was a kid, ignoring it, and then as we come up, my brother cannot handle. He's got a $1.5 million business. He wants to sell it and go this direction because he's making $500 a day for 3 or 4 appointments. I'm like, he goes, this is what makes me happy. So follow your passion, but I'm more, as a matter of fact.
I wish I was making that much money.
Oh, let me tell you.
All right, so
I make more than that.
I believe in our lifetime
Mm-hmm.
that we will be able to in my lifetime, I believe we will be able to figure out the cure to death.
The
cure to death?
What does that mean?
Oh,
That means that once you die, you'll be able to upload your conscience into another either
that's cool.
being or into a computer or into the cloud, or you can come back. I believe that that's going to happen in my lifetime. I think that maybe not come back per se as a human being, but maybe into the cloud, and you'll be able to. There's a television show called Black Mirror, and in an episode,
I've seen that.
you seen that with San
I
Junipero.
Yes, I have.
The lady's dying, right? And she made a deal with her. She has cancer, and she made a deal with her husband. Well, in this world, you can upload your conscience into like a simulated world, and you can feel everything you're feeling now. And they go in all these different time periods: the 70s, 80s, 90s, and you're just partying. And the server's name is San Junipero, and there's people that are dead in there, and there's people that are just going there for the week, and you're allowed to go in there once a week
Yeah.
in the outside world, or you'll lose connection with your body. So the lady, she said, I'm about to die and I can't come back because I made a deal with my husband, and well, her husband died. Their daughter died at 9 years old, real young. And so when that technology came out, they said, we're not going to leave our daughter alone. We both have to go. So my question to you is, you have a chance to live forever in San Junipero, or you have a chance to cross the line, what would you do?
I crossed the line. Because you know why? Because I know I'm free. I'm free of this body. I believe, they have scientific research and they have proven that they're looking at that we might be living in a matrix. Maybe
Yes.
that's what we are doing now, and we are
That's
actually
what I'm thinking
in
too.
spirit, and we're here in this holographic thing doing.
Could we be a matrix in a matrix in a matrix?
I don't see why not. I mean, it just seems like they're proving so many things right now on that we're just vibration or vibration.
I am open-minded, but I'm just here to tell you the facts. Okay, I'm very factual. I believe things, but all that I never thought about. All I'm
Yeah,
here,
I think about it.
it's black and white to me, and that's what happened. And I know my brother, my mom, even a sister or two in my family, grandma, all that stuff, might be here to tell us things, but I'm just here saying what happened. And because I physically had to take my mom and my dad and my sister over to see her mom. That's all I'm here for. It's facts with me. I'm
Well,
sorry.
I'm gonna
And
go on.
straight up and down.
I'm gonna go ahead and push on with this. And so after her mom and dad left, and when her mom came, she talked Japanese to my mom in her ear when she
Which
was
I do not speak one word in
which
Japanese.
was she was in the bed. So they left, and so she didn't pass on after 5 days of being there. That we had to go back to the home care where she was in hospice then. So they put her in hospice. She's in the home care. I knew she's going to pass soon, so I stay with her. I'm going to stay with her because I want to be there when she dies. So I'm there that night. The next night, the lady comes in that owns the place and says, you know, you have company. It must be like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And I go, what? So I walk out there, and it's her sister, her youngest sister. And she goes, Bonnie, I'm really sorry we're here late, but my mom insisted that I bring her because we live in Ojai. You know, it takes us 45 minutes to get down here. And she wants to say goodbye to your mom because your dad is coming tomorrow.
Literally, they
literally
woke me up and they said, Connie, where is Bonnie's mom staying out in the facility or the home? What is it? Private home
It's
care.
a private home care thing. Yeah.
And it was like at 8:30 at night, and I said, what are you talking about? She goes, where is Bonnie's mom staying out? Mom is persisting. I need to take her and dad down to Oxnard to find the place so she could talk to Bonnie's mom. And I said, I don't know the address, but I'll look it up. And then I did, told him the address. I go, I'll meet you there. It's off of this street, that street. Literally, mom was on fire. She had to talk to her mom.
So when he's pushing her into the house.
She's on a wheelchair, mind you.
Yeah, and pushing her in,
Paralyzed.
and we go into my mom's room. She goes, your dad is coming tomorrow. I want to tell you that, and I want to say goodbye to your mom tonight, so I can, say goodbye and let you know he's coming tomorrow. And I go, okay, no problem. And she goes and talks to her again, and then they leave.
Japanese, which
So
nobody
she leaves. So they end up leaving. The next day, I'm getting prepared. Okay, she's going to go tomorrow. But I had a little Chihuahua dog that was stuck in my apartment that I had to go. It was noon, and I said, okay, I'm going to go home. I live 30 minutes. It would take me about an hour round trip to get there and back. I'll be right back. I got to let my dog out, let her go pee, feed her, and I'll be back. So I did all that, and on my way back, I get a phone call, and she died. She died, and I said, oh
Within
my
the
God,
hour.
I knew that was going to happen. And then I hang up the phone, and the next call I get right after, it's Connie. And I go, hello? And she goes, Bonnie, your mom was in my dream last night. I swear to God, it was so weird. She looked pretty good. And she said, she asked me to take care of you, make sure you're okay. And I go, Connie, my mom just died right now.
And that freaked me out. Because
And
I would remember, not a non-believer, but a matter of fact.
She's Mr. Left Brainer.
I know.
And
And I
so-
called her and said, hey, what's up? Well, this is going on.
So she said, anything you need, let me know. I'll help you with anything you need.
Yeah, she told me to
So
help her.
so I go back, we take care of that, and then I have this celebration of life about a week or two later. She did the flowers, beautiful flowers she got, and it was at the Buddhist Community Center in
It's what I do.
Oxnard. So after when I'm talking at the ceremony and people are coming up, and I look out and I see her dad's name's Charlie. Charlie pushing Taki, her mom, in to the place, and I was getting so anxious because I wanted to go ask her if mom was here. So after I got done, I run up to her and I go, okay, Taki, is my mom here? My dad here? She goes, yes, they're here. And you know your mom, she's always in a hurry, always in a hurry. And your patient dad is saying, just wait a minute, we're going to watch this to the end. And I was at peace, totally. I have never mourned over my mother. I knew she was free of that body
With
that
your
she was
dad.
in, and she was with my dad. I never, ever worried about that part of, her being free. And so I never really, I knew, I miss my mom, but I know she's okay. I do, I know it to the core of my body. I know that she's with my dad, and I know they're free doing whatever they're doing, and they both lost their, they're not in this body. And I got to tell you a real short little story. When my dad was dying in 2004, he was dying of, he had cancer everywhere, and then they had put him in hospice, and because my mom is Japanese and doesn't really always understand what they're saying, she kept going shopping and doing things, and the lady calls me and goes, your mom is leaving your dad. She can't do that. So I had my daughter, which was a few months pregnant, go down and stay with my mom so she could help with my dad. And I remember I had gone to sleep. This is about a week or so later. I went to sleep and I had this dream. And this dream was so amazing. I don't know if you remember those old school Barbie dream houses that used to open up like this. And you know, all the things are here and you'd open them up. Now in my dream, me and my dad were sitting at, like, in a Barbie dream house. But when I was looking out the other way, there was the sand. It was in toward the evening, two moons.
Oh, wow.
And the air, you could see the electrical currents going through it. It was the most bizarre thing. And I just would look out. I was looking up there going, wow, you look so good, Dad. I mean, I'm really happy you're looking good. You're getting better. And the only thing he ever said to me, and he said it to me twice, everything is going to be okay. That's all he said. The next thing I know, we're walking on the sand, and it's not sand at all. It feels like dust. Now, it feels so light, that when you're walking, it's just floating up, and it's so soft. We get to the edge.
That's cool.
We get to the edge of this cliff, and I look up and I go, why is there two moons? And all he said to me again was, everything is going to be okay, and I woke up. So when I woke up, I called my mom. I go, is Dad okay? She goes, oh, yeah, everything is fine. I go, let me talk to Melissa, my daughter. She goes, they put him on a ventilator. Mom, you got to come now, because I don't know how long he's going to be. And I go, okay. So I grabbed my son, which was smaller, and we drive 2.5 hours to Victorville. That's where they were at. And when I get there, we go see my dad, and I go, let's all of us go in one at a time. Tell Dad how much we love him, whatever we want to say, and tell him he can go. It's okay, we love him. You can go now. So I did it. My kids did it. Then my mom went in, and after she got out, because you can hear the ventilator going, shh, 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 and then I heard it stop. When I heard it stop, I just hauled my ass into the room, and I swear, like if you look up in the air, I saw a glimpse of my grandmother and my aunt in a younger state.
Oh, wow.
Okay? And then they were gone. And I just saw a mist in the room, and I just knew that was my dad. So I know that, this dream, if I didn't have it, I would have never called to find out if he was okay. I would have maybe missed out on saying goodbye. But who knows why that happened? And who knows, I look at my dad now and think, you must have some kind of power on the other side, because for you to be able to come through to tell me about your coming, and I was able to have this dream with you all those years ago, then, it's amazing. So I know that I truly, from the core of my being, know that you don't just die and you're gone. I know that, hey, this body's gone and you are freer than you can be ever. You're probably more alive when you die than when you're here. But that's just my whole experience with that.
And my experience is very factual. I mean, it is what it is, and I just say what happened. And my mom, bless her heart, had that power, but she never utilized it.
And she passed on a year ago.
Yeah,
your
she
mother.
did. And from her hemorrhagic stroke, which we took care of for over 8.5 years. So I'm just here to tell you my side of the story.
Well,
I love your side.
Oh, that's
thank you guys so much. It's a beautiful story, and we'll be able to I'm gonna make this its own video. So
Good, because I know my brother and my family they asked me to take this, and I said, oh, the phone's right here. So if you can, I'd love it and share it. And I'd like to, I don't know if I'll share it with my colleagues just yet,
yeah,
because it's a different atmosphere. But yeah, I'd like to share it with my family.
all right. Any last words, or is there anything we missed?
What I like to just say is that I hope that, my whole experience and why I'm sharing it is because, I want, you know, I want to share this because I want people to understand that when you do talk to your loved ones, they do hear you, but they might not be able to respond the way you think. But there'll be something that comes through to make you know that they hear you. You just gotta pay attention when it comes, and
And I'm just saying here, it
yeah,
is what it is. What
this
happened?
is the left brain, and I am totally the right brain.
Yeah,
So I know I have
I'm just
a
being
lot
here.
of experiences, and I've died 3 times myself. So I
Oh
know.
yeah, yeah. Not me.
I have. And I know what's going. I didn't go see the light, but I did feel people that I knew
And
that
ju-
passed over, pushing me back in. I was at
And
time.
just so you understand, my life is beautiful and it's busy. And because my mom and what happened with my mom, and when she asked me to tell it, it was, okay, I'll do it. How much time is it going to take? I'm being honest with you. But literally, for her, hadn't seen her in many years, whatever it takes. And my mom. So I can hear my mom later. But that's okay. Okay?
But I don't know. To me, it's like there is so
There
much
is.
to life and death that people don't understand, and not to be afraid of it.
Exactly.
I really don't believe you should be afraid of it. I'm not afraid to die. I'm afraid to live in a crippled state. You know what I mean? That's where I would rather do, because I know,
And
you know, you definitely, there's life always.
And-
We're in a matrix, okay?
Yeah.
But I truly
Exactly.
believe-
and me, I'm good. As long as my loved ones are taken care of when I die, that's okay. It's set. Financially.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. Well, Connie and Bonnie. This wasn't made up. We didn't
Bonnie,
just.
Connie.
Yeah,
It's
I
not.
don't
It's
know.
not a joke. Thank you guys for your story. You're watching the Red Light District Show YouTube. Give us a like, subscribe, follow. We actually spent $50 a month. You press the like right here. It gives you fireworks. So
Well, wait a minute. So the family up north in California just subscribe to see this?
no, you don't even have to subscribe.
No.
Okay.
I'm just
cool.
asking if you want. If you,
Yeah.
No,
if they did, that'll be
will.
cool.
They will. But I need the info.
Okay. I will send you text messages with it
Oh,
when
good.
it comes out. All right, Red Light District. We'll be right back, or we're out. I don't know, one of those.
Flashback, remember, I'm not crabbing it. You know my style, but I'm not having it.